lasted super long.
I need to see how that worked out.
You
Man,
haven't ever had edibles?
yes,
Oh, girl, yeah.
They're
but
I
not, but not.
volunteer for taste testing.
Yeah, the next,
I
the
just
next
ain't
one,
had
chef.
nothing that made me eat and not want nothing the next day.
Oh yes, girl. So, I am Mizzy. I am sitting here with Miss Nandi, and we are reviewing her credit today. We're going to go over, just look at her credit, do a credit assessment. This is my way of being able to kind of just dive in, see the credit report for what it is. All three credit bureaus, that's Experian, that's TransUnion, that's Equifax. And what we're going to do is we're going to review her credit, and I'm going to give her some pointers as to how to improve it, what strategies we need to increase the scores, and build it out over a course of 3 months. 3 months, and I just say that third month with another 30 days, 4 months. After that, if you're in a credit repair program and it's lasting more than 4 months, it's going to be my professional experience to say you might want to start looking elsewhere. So I've been doing credit for a good 15 years or so, maybe a little longer than that. And what really started me in that direction is working with other credit professionals and not getting the assistance that I needed. And I really drastically, not only did I need to improve my credit, but I needed to know how to manage my credit, how to improve my credit, and really how to take my credit to the next level. I needed to just learn everything. I thought I was very good with budgeting and handling liquid cash, but when it came down to credit, I felt like I really needed some assistance. So I started studying not only from mentors and coaches, but I also started to learn about the credit law and credit strategies, looking at how and what I can do to improve not only my credit but the people around me. Business credit and personal credit kind of goes hand in hand. I know we have a lot of people out there that feel like you can build credit, business credit without utilizing personal credit. And while that's a half truth, it really truly is just a half truth. At some point, if you're really serious about taking your business to the next level, getting the funding, getting the capital you need, personal credit will play a part at some point. It's going to play a serious part. The other piece is that we want to leverage credit. I mean, we want to not only build personal credit for our personal needs, but we also want to build personal credit for business needs as well. So we want to leverage our personal credit. And so when we have good relationships with certain creditors, they'll be more amped to give us credit or extend credit to our businesses as well, because they want to ultimately continue that relationship with us. So what I have Nandi doing right now is she's filling out our personal credit request form, and she's signing in to I partner with Identity IQ, and she's signing into her credit monitoring system. The reason why I have people do a credit monitoring system is so that they can look and see not only the alerts that are coming on the credit, but they can get in the habit of staying abreast of what is actually on the credit files. A lot of people get very, very hung up on my credit score, my credit score, my credit score. While that's very important, it's more importantly for you to know what the credit file states. So having having an understanding of what the credit file actually says about you will give you a lot of leeway on how you should take your credit to the next level. For example, if it has 1 million addresses, some you lived at for maybe just a couple weeks, maybe you were in transit, you're in some type of transitional piece, or maybe there was an address that you used just for mailing purposes, but now it's on your credit file. Those are things you would like to remove. Maybe it's just so old of an address, you lived there 20, 30 years ago, but it's still lingering on your credit file. My advice is to remove those type of credit increase. So, and also to look at misspellings of names, social security numbers, it not being the proper social security number. It's easy to get those numbers mixed up. Date of birth, that's a major one. And sometimes you think, oh, if it's not on there, then maybe it's something that doesn't need to be on there, but it actually does. Sometimes having that information on there can actually hurt the credit file. For example, recently I had someone who just closed on a home, meaning they paid the home completely off. On two credit reports, it showed that the house had been paid off. On another credit report, the mortgage was completely wiped from it. There was no existence that mortgage even happened. So their credit score was very, very low, 100 points lower than the other two credit scores, because there was missing that information. So even though you may think that not having that information on there can is helpful in removing negative, it can also hurt when it comes down to keeping positive data on the credit file as well. And we're just gonna go over it. So
It's so bad.
no, it's definitely not so bad. Let's not go there.
Okay.
Okay. And that's the one thing we got to give ourselves grace, because we don't know what we don't know. We have credit scores, her credit scores, and are right up underneath 600. Okay. And only because of confidentiality reasons, I'm not going to expose all of her credit information. But I will be keeping certain things in place so that we can be very transparent here, and we can go over it. So what I'm looking at, going back into what we just discussed, the various different names. So in one, she has her middle initial, right?
Yeah.
And the other two, she doesn't. When we look at the credit monitoring system online, it gives us a skinny, literally a very small summary of what names could look like, potential names, date of birth, social security numbers, addresses. Employers was another that I didn't mention before, but they're only going to give us a few lines of that. When we actually get a true physical copy of the credit report itself, we'll then have, and we'll see more. We'll see various different names. We'll see more addresses. We'll see more date of births. We'll see the different changes on there. But when we look at it online, it just gives us a few lines.
Yeah, I always
okay?
feel like people see more than
Yeah.
what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Is that really my requirement? I guess it is, because I'm
Yeah.
not seeing all of it.
Yeah, so when they do a hard pull, like if you go to a dealership or you go get a mortgage or something of the nature, and they do a hard pull, they definitely do see more than what we see here. So that's one of the reasons why it's good to have the monitoring system, because at least we get to see a little bit of it.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah, but then also if we see something that we don't agree with and we put in a dispute, then the credit bureaus will send us a free copy of a hard copy of our report.
Okay.
And when they do that, that's our way of being able to check to see what they actually do really see. So we always do start from there, though, no matter what. So for example, in this instance, TransUnion has an S in the middle as your middle initial. We can remove that. And the reason why that's important sometimes to remove is because when creditors come back and we dispute and we say, hey, that's not our account, so to speak, or the data that you have is misleading or is inaccurate, the credit bureau goes back and they do what they call like a 5-point variation check. And what they do is they check, what is that, their name?
Yeah.
And if it's the same name, then that's a check. If it's the same date of birth, then that's a check. If it's the same social security number, that's a check. If it's the same address, that's a check. If it's the same employer or the same email, that's a check. So it's verified. Okay?
Yeah.
So that they're gonna send back a letter to say, hey, look, this is verified. Looks like it's you. There's nothing in here that's inaccurate. It looks like this is your name, this is your email, and what they typically believe is that if it was fraud, they would have something incorrect.
Yeah.
Whether it be an address, a misspelling of your name, the wrong date of birth, the wrong social security number, and definitely maybe the wrong employer.
Yeah.
Put in a supervisor. What is your title? If it's a consultant, you can put a consultant in there.
Okay.
Like if you have a particular title, don't use CEO, don't put owner, and don't say self-employed.
Right. It's
Okay.
like I work for this company.
Exactly.
I
You know.
totally didn't start it.
Yeah, exactly. You
Just
know.
work here.
I mean, no one's really asking if you
Right.
started it.
They don't know.
But you could definitely, you know, even when we do, when we actually do the articles, then we put in whether or not we're going to be a member or we're going to be a manager under an LLC, right?
Yeah.
Even with the S corp, it's still that question or concern whether it's going to be member managed or just managed, you know, by managers or some sort. All right, and so the other piece is down where it says risk factors. Risk factors is very important when we're looking at the monitoring system because it lets us know in a short, skinny way of, hey, this is what we think of you. So I'm going to name a few things out, but I'm not being offensive to you. I'm just going to throw it out there. So the balances on your accounts are too high compared to loan amounts. What that really says in a nutshell is you're using more money than what has been allotted to you. Okay, so a perfect example of this and why this is almost on everybody's credit report, especially if they have a student loan.
So many student loans, they're so annoying. Like,
Because
I wish they would just go away.
yes, this is
Just
terrible.
go away.
This is one that's on most people that have a student loan, especially during this pandemic, you know. So it looks like this. Student loan, we had a student loan for $10,000, but over the course of these years, it's been collecting interest.
Yeah.
So the original loan amount was $10,000, but now we owe $14,000 because interest, right? And so now our balances on our accounts are too high in comparison to the loan amount. And that's what that risk factor is. Another piece that happens is if you max out your credit cards, okay? You max out your credit cards and let's say, you know, even though you made the minimum amounts, interest rates are hitting you every month. So the amount, let's say, is $10,000. You pay the minimum amount of $80. I'm just threw a number out there, but you paid the minimum amount of $80, right? But you got hit with $40 every month with this interest rate. So I'm just, again, these numbers are not solid because they are a lot more than this. But so now you've got a balance on the credit card of $10,000 and $40,000 because you had this overage of this interest rate. So again, the balance is higher than what the actual credit that was extended to us is. So that flips out to being higher, and it looks bad. The other one you have is the date you opened your oldest account is too recent. So what that really means is that so when we open up our account, we're very risky when we open a lot of accounts at one time. So sometimes we'll go in, and I see it often, people might buy a house and they buy a card and they open up a lot of credit cards, right?
Yeah.
They would get that type of remark that the account is too recent, right? I always tell people to start having, like, when we talk about strategy, have a strategy of when you're going to open up accounts. For me, it's always in the top of the year, usually somewhere between January and March, and then 4 months after that. So I have a habit of not opening up accounts just quarterly.
Yeah.
That keeps me with a few different things. One, it keeps my increase low because I'm not going over my increase because I'm only allowed to have 4 per year, 4 increase per year. So it keeps me where I'm only opening up an account every 4 months.
Okay.
So I know that I'm keeping my increase low, right?
Okay.
And I'm also I'm giving the time that it takes from when I opened up the account for me to get good credit ratings from that account.
Yeah, give it
You
some
know,
time.
give it a little time to
Yeah.
kind of just blossom, right? So now it's, I opened it up, but I'm doing excellent with it. You know, I'm managing the account very well. And so then that eliminates that whole, the account was too recent when I opened it. It's like, because I'm now kind of, kind of watching the time that I'm opening up the account, which is spacing out the time of the increase, which is, in the sense, it's not looking like I'm too risky because I'm opening up accounts all the time.
Wow,
Right.
I wasn't even thinking.
Yeah, and then this one, you have too many collection agency accounts that are unpaid.
I know.
Okay, now let's talk about that. Now, in a sense, first off, I'm not for a collection agency. Most of the time, a collection agency is coming in and they're buying a debt. They're in business of buying a debt.
Yeah.
So what makes me entitled to pay you?
That's why I get annoyed.
Just
Like,
because-
just leave it alone. Like, leave me alone. No, I'm not gonna pay you. And
Yeah.
It just sits there and it's like, I know I gotta deal with it, but I don't want to.
You know the best way to deal with the collection agency? Dispute it. Dispute. How do I owe you? Keep asking them. How do I owe you? When did I ever sign a form that said that I would pay you, that I would owe you? You know, show me a wet signature. You know that I agreed to go in business with you.
Because they're not original, they might not have it.
They're not original. They don't have it because you never went to their place of business and said, "Hey, I want to do business."
Right? They
with
just
you.
like bought it.
They just bought it,
And they
right?
don't have all the receipts.
Absolutely. If you're gonna pay it, do a pay and delete. Only do a pay and delete. Try to avoid doing any other kind of payments with a collection agency. A pay
Okay.
and delete. Hey, I'll pay you, but you gotta remove this up off my credit file.
Okay.
You know, this isn't an admission of debt. I need you to get this up off of my credit file.
Yeah.
And so that last one that you had said lack of sufficient or relevant real estate account information.
Real
All right.
estate.
Exactly. I've seen that recently, like in a lot of ways. Without looking at your file, what I'm assuming is that there's something in there that's saying that has a memo of real estate or some sort, but it's not giving full accuracy. And we'll find out. So we're
Okay.
gonna dive right into it, okay?
Yeah.
We'll find out. So I do see these student loans in here, right?
Yeah.
And were they private student loans or Department of Ed?
It was the Department of Education.
Okay. So yeah, so again, they're in good standing, but do you see that where it says the high credit
Yeah.
and then the balance?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
That's-
could talk a little more offline with that.
Okay.
This acceptance?
That's my car that got stolen that I don't even have back.
Oh wow.
It got stolen in October.
Oh wow.
And I have the worst insurance. Like, it's been at the auto shop, I think, for like almost 2 months.
Oh wow.
Because they were like, there's a lot more damages than the insurance reported, and they keep having to submit
claim.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah.
they take it because they're like, we have more work to do, so they have to get an approval. And I never can get a hold of my adjuster, and
Oh,
it's
no.
been really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're reporting on here. What we want to do
So
then.
I've been late with that. And I'm
Exactly,
like,
I'm seeing that.
it's very annoying.
So and I can see probably why. Do you know what the balance is for the actual like
17 something
no
or what?
how much is the car worth? Is it worth 17,000?
Oh, I don't know what it was. I know that's how much I'm supposed to be paying for, but I don't know how much. I think maybe it was like 20. I don't know.
And so sometimes what happens is when there's a lot of work that needs to be done to the vehicle, then the insurance company is trying to see in comparison to what you owe, comparison to what the car is worth, the value of the car, in comparison to how much money it takes to repair the car and restore it back to working condition
Yeah.
or what, at least where it was before. And so they'll compare all of those costs to see whether or not it's even worth that or if they're going to.
Just total it or something.
yeah,
That's why
exactly.
I'm frustrated because I'm like, I don't even have my car. I don't know if they're going to total or what's going on, but I'm still making car payments. Like,
Right.
what the hell?
Exactly.
And it's been like 4 months
So-
since October. It's
Uh,
what the hell?
Have you spoke to the car dealership? The loan, the
The
holder
strike
of the loan.
acceptance, yeah. There's. I told them I was like, I don't even have this car, and I don't even know what's going on with it.
And what did they say?
They said I still need to make payments.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I'm
okay.
like, really? So I'm still doing it. I've been like late, but I'm still paying it, and it feels so like
Yeah.
stupid. It feels so stupid because I don't even have the car, and I don't know what's going on with it.
So what we might have to do is actually call them up and say, hey, look, this is becoming a hardship on me
Yeah.
because I don't have the vehicle and I'm having to pay, money to get back and forth in another kind of way.
Yeah, I told
Is there
them that
any
too.
way that I can make some kind of adjustments? Maybe, you guys be willing to check in with this for me 3 months, hold off on my payments or some sort.
Because I don't know
Yeah,
what's
see
going
what you can
on.
do to kind of adjust it, or even if you can see if necessary, if they can lower the payment for a little while just to get you, just so that this can adjust itself back.
Yeah.
I would check into it. Not saying, I know sometimes they're really hard, but
I know they've been annoying.
Yeah.
Like I asked them to push a
Yeah.
payment to the back end. Like when this first happened, they were like, "You have to have 6 payments, and we've only had like 3. So if you make 3 more, then we can help you out." I'm like,
so it's a new car note.
"Yeah,
too.
I got
Gotcha.
this. I got this like last June. Yeah.
Got you.
So and then it got stolen in October. So
Oh
like,
wow. Right. So now I understand. So yeah, a lot of times because it's such a new loan, and I was gonna actually ask you that too because I didn't see a lot of history.
Yeah.
When there's like a new loan, then yeah, that
They
can be
couldn't
that could definitely be a little hurdle.
I
So there's a
know.
couple things that I like to suggest. One is let's definitely put a dispute in, but put us to actually ask the statement to be put on the credit file to just say that, hey, look, my car was stolen. It's been I'm going through a hardship. The car was stolen. It's been in the shop for the last few months, and I can't get anyone to work with me. The insurance company is not working with me.
the lien
The
holder's
lien holder's not working with me.
Nobody's working.
At least that way you have a statement that kind of helps. Sometimes
Yeah.
a statement just to explain why
It's like
is
that.
helpful, exactly. And then also to see if the credit bureau will at least eliminate the 30-day notice. There's something called a goodwill, where you can also write a goodwill letter, and you can actually ask the creditor to say, hey, this is my situation. Can you please work with me? Because this was the reason.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I had no late payments with
Right.
you all. I had good standing.
Yeah,
But
I
this is
did.
my situation. Sometimes putting it in writing and not just saying it verbally, it really helps. So let's try those and to try to combat that, and then see where we stand from there.
Okay.
And then this one also is an auto loan. It's showing up on the credit report.
Yeah.
It's showing as an open file. Is this a credit?
Yeah,
loan
that's
that
right. Yeah, I just got a car for it's in my name, but it's not mine.
Gotcha.
I'm not
Okay.
the one
Okay.
driving it.
Okay. But the payments being
Yeah,
made,
that
so.
one's fine. Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Okay. And then this looks like, okay, secure loan. Got you. You're making payments on that, so you're making good strides. No issues there. That's good. You have another rent self-reported thing. It's
okay.
working out, so no worries with that. Westlake Financial, you paid it. It's closed. Good job.
Yeah, that one's old.
You have another account that looks like it's derogatory. It's in the collection department. It's charged off, actually. We want to go ahead and dispute that. And we have a lot of inaccuracies on this credit file that I'm looking at. I'm looking at Equifax saying that everything's been being paid. And I'm looking at TransUnion not reporting any payment history at all. Right? So, but 4 months, we can definitely change the way the credit file looks. You think we can be committed to that?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's make it happen.
Yes,
sis.
yes.
Let's make it happen. We'll shake it agree. All right, we're done. I'm Missy Deep. I am the owner and manager of 8 Deep Consulting, 8 Deep Enterprises. That's My Credit Talks. You just watched a segment of My Credit Talks, which is our financial arm. We discuss credit, we talk about accounting, we do bookkeeping, we do funding. Thank you.
2, 1, action.
All right. How you all doing? I am here with Miss Danielle Goodwin of Taste Juice Bar right here in Las Vegas. Okay. I am Mizzy Deep, and today we're going to do a assessment. I'm going to learn more about her business, kind of dive in. We're going to take a deep dive. I want to learn all about your business, what you've done, what you're doing so far, and where you're, seeking to go. And then I'm going to offer some of my professional consulting as well, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So far what I know is you have a juice bar here. How would you describe your juices?
I would describe my juices as kind of like the best of both worlds. When I created the juice, I wanted, when I did like market research, I saw that like in order for people to make like a sweet juice, they typically use all fruit. Or if they wanted something like really, really healthy, it was like a disgusting combination of like charred.
Hard to get down.
So I wanted to
Yeah.
merge the two. I wanted a vegetable based juice
Okay.
that also was sweet.
Okay. And how long have you been doing it?
Almost 2 years.
Okay. Okay, cool. Okay. And what made you get started?
Health.
Okay.
I had to start juicing because of my health. I had some nutrient deficiencies. I had some, I was constantly fatigued, so I had some different issues that I needed to correct.
Okay.
And I really needed a way to fit that in without having to have 5 meals a day, and
Okay.
also making sure I had different things on my plate. So juices were the solution for that.
Okay. That's good to know. So, when you began the journey, and you said you wanted to make some changes, and you were researching juices and whatnot, and you kind of compared, as you mentioned, the juice could either be bitter, hard to choke down, or it could be too sweet or real sweet, but maybe not filled with enough nutrition. So you started kind of dabbing along with a couple different products to kind of see what would work and what didn't work.
Yes.
What was that journey like?
So I really wanted something that wasn't isolating, and what I mean by that is I knew that I wanted my juice to be kind of like, I knew my juice would probably be an introduction to a lot of people to switching over to a healthier lifestyle. And so a lot of juice bars that I came across, they had like things in their juices or smoothies that you couldn't even identify unless you were like a certain level of health conscious, like fennel or so I really wanted to, when I created my juice, I wanted to use items that I knew everybody could readily recognize. So everybody knows what spinach is, everybody knows what kale is, at least on the surface level. They may not know how good it is for them or what it tastes like, but they can readily identify the
ingredients that was
vegetables,
in there. That was nice. Okay. And so, in doing that, what kind of response have you been receiving from others?
I've actually been receiving a really good response. I still get kind of overwhelmed by it a little bit because I'm just like, I don't know if I trust y'all. Y'all lying. I ain't gotta lie. Tell me if y'all like it for real.
Yeah.
No, but I've been getting a really, really good response. Like even to something like kale, I knew that kale is very, very overbearing in juices and smoothies. It has a very distinct taste.
Okay.
And it can really like turn like really, I don't want to say ruin a drink or a smoothie, but it does overtake it.
Yeah. So I see that you brought one of your juices. Is that for us to taste?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Let's definitely taste one. I would like to get a good feel of, just what do you mean in terms of just being able to taste it and so on and so forth. I want to get a good feel as well. So I definitely want to do that. You mentioned that the business had been open before we grabbed the glasses to taste. You mentioned that the business had just got started a couple years ago. What date did you incorporate in? And for those that are just listening, I'm filling out a great form, her registration form. It gives me a good idea of where she is. So later, after this conversation, I'm able to go back in and look and kind of dive in. If it's something else that later we go to look at, it could be anything from grants or funding or leveraging with a corporate sponsor or partner. I like to know these dates so I don't have to keep asking you that. So, and have you set up a corporate phone number, address, and things of that nature for the business? Fax number?
I don't have a fax number.
Okay. What about a address? And then what about a website?
in progress right now.
Okay. Have you
Taste
ordered
Juice
the
Bar.
domain?
Yes,
Okay.
tastejuicebarlv.com.
Okay. What made you decide to do to take it from the point of, hey, look, I need to do this from my own nutritional standpoint, you know, I like to put a product out there and make it official and do the LLC. What made you decide to go that far with it?
Well, part of it was like I was frustrated because there really wasn't a whole lot of healthy options available in the area that I live in. So like you go to Henderson, tons of juice bars. You go to Summerlin, tons of juice bars. But like Centennial, Aliante, North Las Vegas, West Side, nothing.
Yeah.
I almost always ended up at like a Pollo Loco because that was like the compromise. Like,
Yeah.
it's not terrible, it's not the worst, but it's not the best either.
Right.
But that was really what it was. It's just like I shouldn't have to drive 20-25 minutes, especially, you know, as a teacher, 30-minute lunch. That was
Right.
the max.
Right.
And, you know, you don't have enough time to drive 20-25 minutes to go get something healthy. So I really wanted to be able to provide that option in the area that I frequent and that I live.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good reason. So, what I'm hearing though is that you seen that it was a need that needed to be fulfilled. There was something that was missing out of our community. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And when you decided to say, okay, I'm gonna take this business I'm gonna go ahead and create a business out of this and take this business to the next level. I see you did the labels. I see you start putting together the pieces for the website and dealing with the content. What are some of the pitfalls that you feel like you're still missing?
The funding piece is definitely one of the things that I want to start focusing on. I was, you know, funding it on my own for the longest time, so I want to start thinking about other funding sources.
Okay.
Also, too, like the marketing piece. Like I've discovered that I know that social media is a tool. I absolutely know how important it is and how vital it is to my business. I don't like it though. Like it's
Nobody
just one of
likes
those
it.
things. It's just one. I like scrolling. I like liking and interacting with stuff, but I just like making content. I don't know why it's like a thorn in my side, but I just don't enjoy it.
Okay.
I wish I did.
Okay. So the pitfalls I'm hearing you say is definitely I need to know where the sources to get funding, get capital to grow and expand the business, and then also the marketing just to get more exposure, build out the brand, things of that nature. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. That sounds fair enough. Okay, and so let's talk about some of the hard things. Obviously you came to me because you said, hey, look, I need to know where I'm going. What's the next steps, right? What were some of the things that you were thinking about in terms of what is this you need to go to the next step outside of the funding, outside of the marketing?
I really need to start thinking about different systems that I need to put in place for my business to help it run smoothly. I realize there's a lot of things that I'm able to do now at this level that I will not be able to do once my business grows. And one of those things is quality control. So I'm in the process of creating a system for quality control so that I don't always have to just like taste the juice and be like, is it right? Is it, you know, because I can do that at this level, but you know, once I get to a point where I have staff and everything like that, no one's gonna be able to just like taste the juice every time and keep you know, I think that's really the biggest thing for me now is like creating those systems so that because I know the time is coming for me to take it to the next level, I'm ready for that. And that's just really what's on my mind. I've done a lot of building thus far, but like sometimes I can't even focus on what I got going on in the moment because I'm just thinking about
going
the
to the
next
next level. Okay, so those are really good. Honestly, those are good thoughts, processes. A lot of people don't even think about Q&A until they're 5 years, 7 years, 10 years deep in. Some people just don't think about that. They also don't think about taking the business up out of themselves, and if they start to pass it over to staff and so on and so forth. Again, that's something that's not always talked about until 5 or 10 years later down the line. Sometimes not even that, especially in the world of solopreneurship. That's just, this is very far from a thought sometimes. But if we're building business and we're building something sustainable and we're building it so it can outlive us, then we should be thinking about this, in these early stages like where you're at right now. And so I appreciate that. We're gonna talk about those three things: the funding, the branding, as well as the SOPs, getting the systems and processes in place. Okay. Before I get started, I'm assuming you have an EIN, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Later on, not now, but later on, I'll need that information. I'm gonna actually forward this form over so you can just critique the information that I put out there. Okay. So do you use some social media?
Yes, it's just taxing for, like, it feels like work.
Gotcha.
It absolutely feels like work to me.
Okay.
That's the only issue.
And do you have like certain types of juice, like 3-4 different types, or is it just whatever? Do you have particular flavors?
Yes, so I have a kale, a spinach, carrot, celery, and a beet.
Okay. So I have kale, spinach, carrot, a beet, and what else was it? There was one more. So I have kale, celery. That's right, celery. Okay, got it. Great. Okay. Do you have any plans for any other flavors in the future?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm thinking about a specialized juice for the
Okay.
ladies.
Okay.
It's a woman's brand, by the way.
Okay.
I want it to be the first juice bar that focuses on women's health
Okay.
versus gym health in general.
Okay. Can men drink your juice?
Yes, of course. The logic behind it is that, like, if you're a man and you're in the gym, I don't necessarily have to convince you of the importance of drinking juice or consuming things like kale and spinach. If you're already in the gym, it's a given already. You already know, like, oh, they have this, okay, cool, let me get that.
Right.
What I want to do with my brand is I want to help women understand the importance of nutrition, especially because we're women, we have menstrual cycles. And what we're not told is that we kind of have to be a little bit more intentional with our nutrition because of that, because we lose nutrients during that time of the month. So we have to put that stuff back in, and that's something that men don't have to deal with.
Right.
So it's not that it's not for them, it's just I want to go a different direction in terms of the educational piece of getting women to understand nutrition for women.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the funding, because it's the easier part. The funding, where I feel like you definitely have the 2 years. You got the in business for the last 2 years, year and a half. Honestly, time, duration, it means something, but then it doesn't when it comes down to funding. You can get funding on a new business, by just being in business 6 months, 4 months. You could typically get some funding. It may not be a huge amount, but it's something, especially if you can show that track history that the business has been making money. As a general rule, most funders want to see at least $10,000 flow through the bank account monthly. It don't matter if the $10,000 comes in, but then it's all allotted for expenses. It does not matter for that. What matters is that $10,000 flowed into the business organically from sales, services, products that the business offers. The other piece is that in order for us to even get past the first stages of consideration, we have to have it set up like a corporate. So we have to have the business address in place. We have to have the business phone number in place. If a fax number is there, put the fax number. But we just have to have that whole corporate view in place, that whole corporate appearance. Get on Google. Have you registered with Google at all?
That's being done in conjunction with my website.
Okay.
That's being done as
My suggestion is do all this at one point. So I'm going to forward you over what I call a business credit checklist because it goes hand in hand with the funding. Okay. And it's just to kind of give you kind of insight on, all right, I need my business address to be here. You have the business email. You have a branded email, which is good. Okay. But some of those gaps that's not there, like the corporate address, the corporate phone number, the corporate website, those things I want you to go ahead and lay out. And then getting on things like Google, Yelp. I'm not like a huge big fan of Yelp, but Yelp is one. The 411 directory, the info directory, all of those are important because when an underwriter goes behind the scenes of what you've given them and they go to do their own due diligence, I need you to pop up. I need you to show up with the same information consistent across the board. So you want to update once you do have that checklist filled out. It also does the DUNS. It goes through some various different channels. But once you complete that check list, then go ahead and fill that data in on your website. Fill it in on your Facebook pages, your Instagram account, your LinkedIn account. Keep that information consistent across all platforms on the internet. Okay. Then there's a few other things that we can shoot for. Some of the county private foundational grants are even partnering with a nonprofit to be able to open up doors for more grants. That would also be something, especially if in the world of nutrition, right after this pandemic and COVID, this is a big deal for most people. They're very much so intrigued by anything that's going to help them be more healthier and it's going to combat any type of illness or disease. Your goal is to get it out into places that nobody's ever heard of. Yeah, you're thinking, well, my family and my friends, they know me, they'll help me, they'll support me, and so on and so forth. And that's only a half truth. Sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. Most importantly, though, you want to put it in the hands of people that don't know you, people that don't know your brand, don't know what you're about. Those are the people that's going to be more amped to tell other people and spread the news out further than your current circle. Right. The other piece, and what really, really, really helped me is, because I noticed I asked you the question twice about how you describe your juice. And each time you limited your description. I noticed that. I picked that up. And I asked twice just so maybe the first time, you got a good feel we were just getting started. The second time I asked in a different way just to see if I could get a different reaction from you, but it still was like pulling teeth. I need you to come up with some extreme, powerful, detailed descriptions about your juice. It needs to say something, but come up with some really phenomenal descriptive words about your juice, because that's going to help you with the content. It's going to help people remember you. So descriptive words, okay? And then come up with, you only need 7 nice things to say about your brand, okay, to build content, to start off, okay? Well, with your juices, you need that same kind of formula. Why should people buy your juice? Well, you said a lot of great things that are super dope, like women and around in their menstrual cycle and the period, and the reason why they're the detoxing, it expels so many nutrients, why we need your juice to go back in and replenish those nutrients. That's one day. So one day you talk about that piece. It's very big of a piece because especially as women get older, this really becomes a big issue. As we're younger, we don't think about that because we're like, man, I'm eating anything I want to, and I'm able to lose the weight quick or whatever the case might be, but we just don't think about nutrients at a young age. But as we get older, health starts coming in, age starts settling in, and we start to think about nutrition from all kinds of ways. I want my face clear, I don't want my body being stiff, I don't want to feel tired or exhausted. I need energy, I need to improve my metabolism. I mean, we start thinking about, I want my hair to grow. We contribute all of those beauty places. We contribute it to the nutrients in our body and what we put in our body. So those are some things. So think of some hot topics that you can bring about that can bring your juice as the solution.
Okay.
What's the problem? Your juice is the solution. What's the problem? Your juice is the solution. What's the problem that I'm correcting? This is the solution. My juice is the solution. If you think of branding and marketing like that, you will build enough content to last over the span of a week. Okay? And you can chop up that content how you see fit. You're building a website. This is another valuable piece. Make your content inconsistent with your website. So if you're building your website and you have content within it, I don't know if you plan on doing blogs or if you plan on doing articles within your website, but if you are, use that content from those blogs and from the articles to push the content on your social media platforms to build your audience, okay? What about an email list? Are you creating or developing an email list? Okay, so yeah, if you're creating an email list, again, using the articles, the blogs, a friendly reminder, a daily affirmation, again with the slogan with your juice. Have you created a slogan for your juice?
I have not.
So yeah, let's work on that. That's important. The slogan will help you define the content that you bring to light. Okay.
When I first started my email list, proper nutrition and self-care was my slogan.
Proper nutrition and self-care, and I like that.
Because I
and
wanted
it ties
the
right
brand,
into the women.
because I wanted the brand to like expand the idea of self-care. And the reason why that is because like the last year that I was teaching, I was doing all the self-care. I was getting the facials, I was getting my nails done, I was getting my pedicures, I was getting the massages and things like that. And like, yes, it was helping, but I was in the drive-through every other day, and I wasn't like taking care of myself nutritionally. So I was still fatigued, you know, or like, you know, when I would go and get a massage or something like that, it would kind of give me a boost temporarily, and then I'd be right back to square one. And then when I started addressing the nutritional issues is when I finally started feeling like all around better and healthy. So I really want women to start thinking about nutrition and eating well and things like that as a part of self-care as well.
So yeah, so I really do like that, proper nutrition and self-care. I think that's super viable. It goes right into with the women, you know. I mean, it's just, we think about, like I say, when we think about beauty and self-care, we think about all of the nutrition, the health, our diet, just all of it. Like you mentioned, the massages, getting our nails done. And the content that you create don't always have to be built on just your juice. It can be about self-care, you know, but then followed up with your slogan. It can be followed up with, you know, your website link. It could be followed up with, you know, an event that you may be, you know, you may have around it. But are you creating networking events for yourself?
I'm not at the moment,
Okay.
but I will be.
Yes, those are good ways of getting your brand out there. So doing, you know, I've got like you mentioned, you have a new juice that's going to come out soon, a specialized formula. Maybe doing a tasting event for that, you know, something circling around. Everyone that comes to the event has to leave a nice review, you know, sharing the hashtag, creating your hashtags around it. It could be a conference and your juice just, you know, you happen to sponsor a few juices there, you know. It could be like when I said conference, meaning that it don't have to just be like a tasting. It could be proper nutrition and self-care conference, right? And your juice and you are there, so you're one of the biggest sponsors. You're being the, you know, the host of it. You're the presenter of it, you know. And maybe, you know, on the table you have, you know, some of the juices. Everybody's kind of tasting it, but they also get to see you. They get to see what you bring. You're discussing everything that your brand encompasses, which is proper nutrition and self-care. So you have speakers that's, you know, based around that, and just bridging people into your brand. You said the marketing, you said the capital, and then you said the SOPs and the quality assurance, right? Quality assurance is big. Like I mentioned, A lot of people don't think about that for years in their business.
It's
But-
really important to me.
And it's super
It's really
right.
important
It's
to me.
right. It is very important because you can't just keep sitting there. You know, you get 100 orders, you'll never you'll never leave the kitchen. You know, so it's very important to think about how can I, mass produce my product and it tastes good. And I'm not gonna be the one that's gonna taste it. My next question would be, where do you purchase the ingredients from?
Smith's,
All the time?
for the most part, actually Smith's and Winco. So
Okay.
those two.
Okay. So what I would do, and you like the flavors that they deliver?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
Well, like when I get to a point where I'm doing more like bulk orders and things like that, I do want to order in bulk.
Mhm.
The issue with that is that when you order produce in bulk, you have to use it within a certain time
Absolutely.
frame, and if you don't, you have to store it properly.
Mhm.
So that's again with the quality. You know, you don't want to be using old produce or
Mhm.
aged produce in the process. So
So in your mind, it's just I just need to keep tasting it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might need to just stop tasting it.
okay.
I do, because the key thing in anytime we talk about mass production, it's going to be about consistency. It's going to be using the same ingredients, the ingredients is coming from the same source. Even something like Smith might get Florida oranges. I'm just saying on Wednesday, then all of a sudden there's a wildfire in Florida where they was getting the oranges from, and now they're getting oranges from California. Well, California oranges taste different from Florida oranges. So even though you're getting it at Smith's, the oranges could be still now California and not last week's Florida oranges.
Right.
Does that make sense? So if you're not going to change from the store or the product or where you're going to get the products from, or not going directly from a particular source, then I would say let that go. And I'll give that example so when I go to buy my hair, we just talking about hair, and I know this is different, but when I go to buy my weave, right, I buy my weave from the same lady, and I buy raw hair. So I buy raw hair because it matches up with my hair better. It matches the texture of my hair better, so it blends really well when I do, right? And when I'm buying it, that raw hair that I got a couple months ago, it's not always the same raw hair that I get a couple months later. Even though she's got it from the same person and I bought it from the same person. It's just that the hair, even in its rawest ways, it can be different. Okay? Same thing with the fruit. This batch of fruit could be really, really super sweet, and this batch of fruit could just be semi-sweet, right? But it's coming from the same garden. It's just until you could come up with, hey, look, I just happen to like these products better. You switch it up and you change product line or something of the nature. You're probably always going to have some, like you mentioned, just a little something a little off every once in a while. Okay? But I think your SOPs are good for right now. Okay? So just to recap, yes, I'll send over the business credit checklist, which will help with the business funding as well. Complete that. Come up with some very descriptive words when it comes down to the marketing. Let's discuss maybe doing even a marketing plan. But most importantly, come up with ways that you want to market, even on or off social media. And then nice slogans, nice catchy phrases, nice descriptive words. All those things are important when it comes down to the marketing, right? I can go on and on about it, but those are our first steps, because I could talk about marketing a lot. I can talk about ways that you can systematically put things in place where your marketing can be on auto, okay? But let's get those things out of the way first. And then as far as your SOPs, just go in and define your recipe. Maybe look at the manufacturers where you're getting your products from, like Smith's or what have you. See if you can get something a little more consistent, outside of those. Like you said, I know if I buy it in bulk, this is the pro or con of it. Maybe not buy in bulk, but, some kind of way. Maybe look at co-ops. Maybe look at somebody that might have, a garden or some type of mass production where they're able to you're able to partner with them in some kind of way and picking up some of the items, some of the markets or some sort, seeing what they may have. But other than that, I think your SOPs is pretty solid.
Okay.
Okay, I really don't have a lot to add to that. Do you have any other questions for me?
No, I think you've answered a lot of things for me already, and I think I have a really good idea of some next steps, because I think I kind of felt like I was stuck, like, okay, what do I need to be doing next?
Yeah.
So I think this has definitely helped me figure
Okay.
out where I need to be maneuvering.
How do you feel about the SOPs? Because I didn't really feel like I had a lot to add to that, but how did you feel about it?
Well, like, so I'm a teacher by trade, so systems and SOPs are important to me, because that's kind of really what helped things run smoothly.
right.
So, like, I knew going in that I needed to have a system so that it can go smoothly. Because, like, when I
Right.
first started juicing, I was just like, okay. Because I think me not having a system in place was, like, kind of what made me resistant to the process. So when I first started juicing, I used to make a mess. Like, my kitchen looked like a trap house. Like, I kid you not. Because I had stuff all over the place. There was,
Yeah.
like, no consistent anything. And also, too, it took me longer. So, like, to make a 5-day cleanse when I first started out would take me 6 hours.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
So I really had to refine the process so that I can lower my turnaround time for my cleanses and juicing and things like that. Also, too, like I said, when I first started, it was, oh, I'm gonna just throw some extra lemons in there because I got some
Yeah.
extra lemons on hand type of deal. But again, it wasn't like a consistent type thing. Like, you know, it would just be like, okay, you get an extra lemony this time. It might be extra gingery the next time.
Right.
And I wanted to kind of reel that in.
Yeah. So do you feel like you might have a little bit of like perfectionist?
Yes,
With
because I
it,
do
okay.
try it every single time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, something ain't right.
Right.
Like
But
every
it-
single
but
time.
it's your recipe.
Even though I use the recipe,
Exactly.
the recipe's the same every time, I do still try it because I'm like, But too, like,
And I do get it. Don't get me wrong. I do get it. I think I would probably do the same thing. It's just that I know it just isn't going to be the same.
Yeah.
And I'm going to beat myself going crazy if I just keep thinking it's going to be the same each time. And I don't want you to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just no way of being able to do it. Not when we start talking about mass production or some sort, the recipe is important. And you've already done those steps. You've already been putting that in place, you know. And so, yeah. I mean, if anything, I say just perfect your recipe, you know. But other than that, it sounds like you're already on that, you know, on that path. You're already doing it. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna wrap all everything up. I just wanted to make sure that we were okay with the SOPs and if you had any questions. But I'll wrap this up. I'm going to forward you over what I wrote out on our notes, okay? Forward you over the business credit checklist so you can get started on that and the marketing. And when you feel like you have those in place, then let's schedule another meeting and we'll review it, make sure the marketing is on point, the website is tight, you have your formula for your corporate, you know, piece. You perfected the recipe, and let's just do a follow-up, okay? Okay, well that concludes us for today for our business strategy session, okay? My name is Mizzy Deep. I am the manager and owner of 8 Deep Enterprises, as well as the Miss Entrepreneur brand. You have witnessed and been, we didn't get a taste of your juice, but we're going to get a taste of the juice soon. We're going to get a taste of the juice, okay? But you just sat back, you just seen Danielle Goodwin. She is excuse me, I said it incorrectly already. Taste Juice Bar, Las Vegas, okay? And this was her first strategy session. I'm thankful that she allowed me to film her. I'm really appreciative of that. And what you just seen was us go over what it takes to actually make a flourishing business. What's the next steps? What we should be thinking about when we're growing or expanding our business, and how to take our business to the next level. So again, thank you guys for joining us today. If you want to know anything else, you want to visit us, you want to schedule a strategy session, visit us at www.8deep.org. All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Cut. That was great.